Another edition of Behind the Plate. This is the American League East edition. We're skipping the NL West for now because Emily LeClaire isn't available. So we're going to do the AL East, starting with my other favorite team. Obviously, I'm a Brewers fan, but my other favorite team is the Tampa Bay Rays. So
Tampa Bay Rays, interesting choice. I'm Justin St. Peter. Here we go. We have a rotation for the Tampa Bay Rays.
David Price, the ace of this club, is questioned in the offseason whether or not he'd be with the team. He was rumored to possibly go to the Seattle Mariners in a trade.
And he's still with them, and he is the AL Cy Young winner from, I think it was 2 years ago. So he will definitely be the ace of this staff. But behind him, they have some very interesting prospects. They have Matt Moore, Alex Cobb, Chris Archer, Jeremy Hellickson, he's injured, so Jake Odorizzi.
The former Brewers prospect.
Yep.
The Green trade, and then he went over to Tampa.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of young pitching. The Tampa Bay Rays just keep turning out young pitching, kind of like the Cardinals, sadly. But they also signed Eric Bedard to be a bullpen guy that just signed the other day. He's about 40 years old with a lot of starting experience. Any thoughts on the Rays rotation?
I like Price. I like Matt Moore. He's good for that one playoff run that came out of nowhere that year. I do like Hellickson a lot. It's like he's injured. I don't know why Eric Bedard's there. It's like everybody's picking up. So bullpen wise, it's interesting that they have Heath Bell and Grant Balfour. Grant Balfour, it seems like a guy who the Brewers kind of gave up on, and he's kind of flourished since with Oakland, and now he's back with
Balfour raged with the Oakland Athletics, and he's got those fans going crazy. It was a great closer for them for a while. Now the Rays have two closing options with Heath Bell, who's really struggled the last couple of years, and then Balfour, who's really excelled.
On bench hitters, great pickup in Logan Forsythe from the San Diego Padres this offseason. Great hitter.
They also got Jose Molina.
One of the Molina brothers.
Yes, he is the best pitch framer in the MLB, which has given him a bunch of wins above replacement, but he's not that great of a hitter. They have Sean Rodriguez, who plays about every position in baseball.
They gave up on Jose Lobaton just this week. Traded
him to the I want to say Diamondbacks.
I'm looking this up. That's recent.
They traded him the Nationals.
Okay. Nationals.
So we're the Nationals bench hitter now.
That's a great pickup in Washington.
Yes, it is. They also have Jason Nix.
The former Brewer, Lance Nix's brother, and a great DH in Wilson Benjamin.
Yep, he's been a solid MLB player for a while now. All right, going to their lineup. We have David DeJesus in the outfield, Desmond Jennings, and Will Myers. David DeJesus is a little older, but the other two are young players. Yep. They're two young players that have a chance to really shine this year. Jennings had a little bit of a step back year, but Will Myers' first full season in MLB. They're expecting a lot of big things.
They must be expecting a lot out of him since he's gotten cleaned up.
Yeah, they haven't projected cleanup.
I love Evan Longoria. Great bat. I remember a few postseasons ago when I actually called that he would hit that extra inning home run against the Yankees to send them the wild card. I actually called it 5 minutes before it happened. Cool, great hitter. James Loney, who's projected to bat sixth, is a guy who was linked to the Brewers this offseason.
Yeah, James Loney, a great hitter, but not much power. He's a great fielder. He hits for a lot of average and gets on base a lot. You just don't expect that many power numbers. They projected 10 home runs. With the Trop, you're not going to hit many home runs. It's more of a pitcher's ballpark. Loney, he's a really good hitter, but don't expect much power out of him. And going back to Longoria, is a great fielder, and the Rays signed him to a dirt cheap contract. He'll be the Rays star for years to come.
Didn't they sign him to like a originally to a Montana contract when he came up, and then
Yeah, the second that he came up, a few days after he came up, they signed him to a long-term deal, which was a very smart move by them. They saved millions in the process.
he just wished the Brewers would have done it as fielding.
Yeah. And then at second base, they have Ben Zobrist, who's probably also played every position on that team. All-star at one point. Can't say enough about him.
And then you got Yunel Escobar and Matt Joyce.
Joyce is a decent DH. Escobar got into some trouble last year for writing some slurs on his face, the eye patch, but he's a solid hitter. With Joe Madden, you never know who's actually going to play every night and in which position. And their new starting catcher, from former Red, Ryan Hannigan. That could do a little bit more of a defensive catcher than a hitter. The Rays have two defensive catchers. If they would have gotten a hitting catcher, they would have been such a better team this offseason. All right, moving on to the Baltimore Orioles. Their starters, they have Wai-Yin Chen, Miguel Gonzalez, Chris Tillman, Bud Norris, and Kevin Gausman. And
you just read that off. It seems like a weak rotation.
Yeah,
I mean,
Miguel Gonzalez and Chen.
no big names in this rotation. It seems like last year they had more big names in their pitching, and Tommy Hunter's their closer.
No, Tommy Hunter's. I don't know. This must not be updated. He just signed with the Rangers.
He signed with the Rangers.
Yeah, Gonzalez, Chen, Tillman. They all had okay years last year, but they're expected to be the 1, 2, and 3 of the staff. When you are relying on those three to be your top pitching,
when Bud Norris is your number 4 pitcher,
Bud Norris is a decent pitcher. I don't mind him, but other than that, I do not know any of these people in their pitching rotation, except for Dylan Bundy. He is a top prospect who will come up at some point this season. They're expecting big things out of him.
And they just got Superman Yoon.
Yeah, they just picked him up, but from what I've seen, many people have him projected as maybe a 5-starter, nothing special. So in reality, the Orioles have 4 to 5 people that should be a 4 to 5 on normal rotation, filling up their entire starting rotation. That's not going to bode well for them this year when you got big bats such as the Yankees and Red Sox.
Bullpen wise, Darren O'Day, the old guy. Right?
Oh yeah, he's the side armor. He's the one that gave up the 4th homer to Josh Hamilton, but he didn't do so hot with the Rangers, and he's been a great bullpen.
And Ryan Webb, wasn't he with the wasn't he with the Marlins?
Yeah, he was the Marlins last year. Orioles really, their pitching, it doesn't impress many people. They have a decent lineup, a good young lineup. Their pitching, not so much. You got to have pitching to survive in the AL East. Going with the rest of their relievers, Zach Britton, former starter, Brian Manta, another former starter, a couple failed starters that they had were big picks.
Josh Stinson, a former Brewer.
Yeah.
In this Orioles bullpen.
All right, let's move to their bench hitters. David Lowe had a decent year coming off the bench for them. Alexi Garcia had a rebound year. Decent fielder, really fast guy.
Steve Pierce,
former Red Sox and Pirate.
Xavier Paul, who's been surrounded on some of the NL Central. And that guy who the Brewers really must hate from last year, Alex Gonzalez, it was such a bad spot for the Brewers to deal with last year. Alex with the first base situation was going to be bad for them this year too.
Alex Gonzalez, coming off that torn ACL, never was the same last year. He's always known for a great glove. Hitting was always decent. Last year, he really struggled with the Brewers. After having more off time in the season, hopefully he'll make this club. You got to root for guys like that. All right, for the Orioles outfield, you got Nick Markakis, good young hitter they have locked up for a while. Adam Jones.
Isn't he locked up for a while too?
Yep, all-star, at least once, maybe twice, locked up for a while. And their other outfielder spots, we have Delman Young, the reclamation project from the Phillies, the Tigers, the Twins, any team that had him. If he can get his head straight, he might be a decent player.
Interesting infield. J.J. Hardy, former Brewer, Chris Davis, excellent home run hitter. Manny Machado, excellent third baseman. What a play he made coming out of foul territory last year. And our second baseman is really interesting. Ricky Weeks' brother, Jamal Weeks, is the second baseman this year.
The Orioles really could have gotten out and gotten a good young second baseman. Instead, they end up with Jameel Weeks, who, he's a decent player, he's a young player. Not sure if that's what they're really looking for in the offseason.
I think he probably has that as probably as much as Ricky Weeks as his brother does.
Yeah, he'll be lucky to get Ricky Weeks' average this year. Although he's a lot faster than Ricky. J.J. Hardy with the Brewers had a decent career with them, but ever since he's been on the Orioles, he's really turned into like a power hitting shortstop. Chris Davis.
I want to ask you a question about that. Who would you take now, Gene Segura or J.J. Hardy for the Brewers?
Gene Segura. He's my favorite player in the Brewers. He is so fast. He's a little better of a fielder than him. There's so much more potential. A lot of speed, doubles,
I think I would have taken J.J. Hardy since now his bats kind of flourish a little bit more. I know Gene Segura is young, but and speedy, but I would take J.J. Hardy.
Although J.J. Hardy's getting, if he's not 30, he's pretty close. Segura, you still have a lot more years of experience and a lot more team-controlled contracts. He's got to be at least 22, 23. That's like one of the big reasons I'd rather have Segura.
Yeah, I agree with that. But J.J. Hardy is giving the Orioles so much better power numbers.
Brewers have power numbers for every other position.
Yeah, but I want to get power from every reason.
Well, he still had some last year. But Chris Davis, they picked him up the end of 2 years ago with the Rangers, from the Rangers deal. He was just kind of a throw-in. The last 2 years, he has exploded. Great power numbers, all-star the last 2 years. MVP runner-up last year. Just a great player that is getting a lot of recognition for how much he's grown in the past few years. Kind of like a Jose Bautista mold.
I was thinking of that because I remember he was with the Pirates and he wasn't really that great player. And then he goes to Toronto Blue Jays for a great ballpark and starts having the seasons that he had after that. So
more of like a late bloomer, also a Nelson Cruz mold too. And then at third base, Manny Machado, he is the Orioles' future. They have so much invested in him. And
him and Matt Wieters.
Yeah, that scary injury last year where he luckily only tore his PCL. Could have been so much worse. The Orioles, it's questionable if he'll be back by opening day, but if not, he'll be back real early in the season. Great young player. And then also Matt Wieters, they just locked him up for a while too. They expect big things out of him as well.
Two great players to keep him involved.
All right.
And now the Toronto Blue Jays, got so many good players last year and just didn't really pan out for them.
Alex Anthopoulos, their GM, tried to make a bunch of win-now moves that really didn't pan out last year.
They still could pan out.
They had just about everything go wrong that could go wrong happen to them last year. I will admit, I had them as my World Series pick. Didn't really work out so hot. I'll admit it. But they have so many. They traded away basically their whole future for guys that have been on the team the last 2 years. So they are still going for win now time, but their roster, as good as it looked last year, it's looking a lot less in the stacked AL East.
But they still have some good pitching in there. They got some good hitters that can just flat out rake. But I don't know. I give it to either the Red Sox or Yankees right now. I give it to the Yankees right now because of what they deserve to give Derek Jeter a shot to go on top.
Well, let's go through the Blue Jays lineup, or the Blue Jays pitching. First, we got R.A. Dickey, the 38-year-old, or probably 40-year-old now, knuckleball wonder. He worked well for the Mets. He was a former Brewer, too.
Yeah.
He completely reinvented himself. Had a great couple years with the Mets.
He completely reinvented himself after finding out that he could throw the knuckleball.
Yeah. And he really struggled in the AL East last year. It'll be interesting to see how much improvement or regression he'll have this year. But he is projected to be their ace, followed by Brandon Morrow, who they've been expecting big things out of him for years and never really produced much.
And then no-hitter, perfect game, Mark Burley.
Great career with the White Sox, decent year with the Marlins, and just an okay year last year with the Blue Jays. They're looking for a lot better than they did last year.
And they got a few journeymen at the bottom of the rotation. J.A. Happ, former Philly, Esmail Rogers, and another former Philly named Tyler Draybeck.
Yeah, the back 4 and 5 and possibly 6 if they need them. Not that threatening. They need some more pitching help if they want to continue to contend in the AL East. They lost Josh Johnson, but he was injured a lot last year as well. For closing, they have Sergio Santos.
I'll give the closer shot to him.
Yes, he was the White Sox closer.
Even though it says Casey Janssen, I'll give it to Sergio Santos.
Yeah, Sergio Santos, White Sox closer. I can't remember if he was. I think he tore his elbow and didn't really pitch much last year. But now that he'll be healthy, he's a great young pitcher. For the rest of their bullpen, they have Casey Janssen, Brett Cecil, former starting pitcher for I think the A's.
And he was an all-star.
Yeah, for the A's, or I want to say the A's.
I think he was an all-star last year.
No, I don't know. And Casey,
either him or Steve Delbar, one of those two was an all-star last year.
Jansen was, I thought.
It was one of those two.
Okay, whatever.
Last year.
They had an all-star reliever go to the all-star game last year. For bench hitting,
I'm pretty sure it was Cecil.
Okay.
Whatever.
For bench hitting, they have the 40-year-old, at least, Mark DeRosa, who plays about every position in baseball as well. Former Cub, Giant, Indian, name your team, you've been on it.
Nationals. Cardinals.
Chris Getz, White Sox second baseman that most White Sox fans are happy to be rid of.
Wasn't he on the Royals too?
Yep, he was also on the Royals.
Eric Katz, former Philly.
Yep. And
bunch of former Phillies on this team.
Josh Tolley, I think, was in the Phillies as well for a backup catcher. The Blue Jays lost a big catching prospect in Travis D'Arnaud, who went to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey deal. He's projected to be the Mets starting catcher. They mortgaged the future, and it kind of fit them last year. And then Anthony Gose is outfielder. He's projected to be a very good prospect as well. He was one of the few prospects they didn't lose in either trades last year.
Starting lineup: Jose Reyes, Melky Cabrera, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, former Brewers prospect Brett Lord, Adam Lynn, Kobe Rasmussen, former St. Louis Cardinal, former Cub of last year, Diana Navarro, and Meister Turks.
The top of that lineup is pretty threatening if they're healthy. Jose Reyes, whenever he's healthy, he'll give you 40 steals, a great batting average, great defense. The problem is if he's healthy.
I'll also make the argument that Kobe Rasmussen was threatening at times.
Well, we didn't get to that here yet. But Jose, if he's healthy, great player. Melky Cabrera had a up and down career. Did okay with the Yankees, then kind of went down. Then picked it up with the Giants before he was busted for steroids. Blue Jays took a chance on him last year. He had a decent year. No one really knows what to expect from him this year. But then Jose Bautista, same thing with Jose Reyes. If Jose Bautista is healthy, expect 40 home runs. Expect good power numbers. If he's not healthy,
Chris Davis numbers.
Expect Chris Davis numbers. There you go. Edwin Encarnacion, former
Red Louis
Cardinal and Red, yeah. As soon as he got to the Blue Jays, he's been raking home runs the last few years as well. Not the greatest batting average or not the greatest fielder, but if you get that kind of power from the DH spot, that's what they want.
And Brett Laurie, what a pickup from the Sean Markham deal from 2 years ago, when the Brewers picked Markham up from the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays picked up a great penny.
Yeah, Lowry struggled with injuries, and he's kind of had up and down seasons, but at times he's shown complete brilliance. Great fielding, great hitting, and then at other times he struggled. A question mark, but what the Blue Jays, and what we think will be a positive thing going into this year. Adam Lind, a solid average first baseman. They really can't say too much about him because he's just kind of there. Colby Rasmus, like you said, he has a very threatening bat. Not one of the greatest fielders, but a very threatening bat with a lot of power. Doesn't hit for the greatest average, though.
Navarro was a great hitter for the Cubs last year. She brings some pop to the Blue Jays lineup.
Yep. And Meister Torres.
He had all related to Cesar Torres.
I think he might be. I don't know that for sure though. He not much of a batting average. He'll be a fast fielder. That's what his role is. All right, let's move on to the Yankees and a couple of theirs.
We're gonna talk a few things about the Yankees for our guest on.
All right,
Derek Jeter, was announced this week. He on his Facebook page announced that he will retire after the 2014 season. Justin, you have your thoughts on that?
All Red Sox fans are now happily cheering. Derek Jeter, one of the greatest Yankees of all time.
One of the best players of all time.
Shout
out to Amanda Quillen, one of my best friends from Kenosha, who is absolutely in love with him.
He leads the Yankees in so many categories. I think I looked the other day. It was hits, RBIs. No, not RBIs. Hits, stolen bases, average. There's so many other things, and he's in top 5 in a couple other categories.
Here's the question I'm going to ask you, though. Who do you think, since Derek Jeter's been the baseball's ambassador for the last 20 years, who do you think is going to be the next face of baseball?
Next face, Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
Yep. I think he's 21, 22. Great power, great everything.
Rumored to be getting a mega deal.
As he should. We'll talk more about him in the Angels thing, but I think Mike Trout becomes a new face of baseball after Derek Jeter retires.
Ryan Braun could have.
Probably not.
If he wouldn't have ran into the steroid situation.
But Derek Jeter, coming off the injuries, hopefully he plays close to a full season. He could set some more Yankee records. Just the ultimate classy player that was the face of the MLB. Kind of like the Mariano Rivera situation last year. They had the greatest closer of all time. That can't even be disputed for the Yankees, who announced before the season it was his last season. All the teams that were on his schedule got to give him a gift or something like that. I kind of see the same thing happening with Derek Jeter.
Do you think what do you think the Brewers are going to do with him? Do you think you give him a case of beer? I want to go to that series up in Milwaukee on May 9th to the 11th. I called my dad about that. I'm like, can you get tickets for us and Derek Jeter? If you don't play in Milwaukee with me.
If Derek Jeter is the kind of person that if he's in town, doesn't matter, even if he was on a different team, if he was in town, ticket prices would be raised. Everybody wants to see that guy in person. That's just like the Brewers tickets. They've already been raised for the Yankees when they come in town. And the other thing we want to talk about is the A-Rod situation.
Alex Rodriguez suspended for the whole 2014 season.
Yeah. He decided to sue everybody in baseball, everybody that you could possibly think of. They were sued.
He didn't sue us. That's not anything.
But he dropped it against the Players Union, thankfully, because it would cost him about $10 million in legal fees. The Yankees caught a break by not having to pay him the $25 million this year, which allowed them to go out and get Tanaka, the top pitching prospects from the market this year. yeah, the A-Rod situation, everybody will have their own hot take about it, but basically, it's a mess. The Yankees owe him, I think, $65 million over the next 3 years, even voiding this year's contract. So I don't know if it's his last at bat with the Yankees already been taken, but they're still gonna pay him. And they tried getting out of it this year, and they did, thankfully, but they're stuck with him for the next 3 years.
Okay, so before we bring our guests on there, we're gonna give our division picks. Who you got?
I think the Blues are gonna bounce back here, but I don't think they'll win the division.
I don't think that either.
Orioles didn't really improve at all. The Rays
could be up there.
They could be up there.
I don't think they will. I think just because it's Derek Jeter's last year, I know their only iffy spot is the closer's spot because Mariano's gone.
The only iffy spot is the closer? Their whole infield.
Well, they got Jeter, they got
Mark Teixeira, who's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah.
His wrist has bothered him for a while now, and they don't know if he's going to have the same power. Second baseman,
Brian Adams.
Will he be healthy?
We'll see. But I would give the division to them because Derek Jeter is a player that deserves to go on top.
Well, I would agree with that, but
I think
there's still holes.
Let's just give him a playoff spot. You know, he's the player that deserves to go out on top, win the World Series one more time, and
the Yankees have probably
they have good starting pitching. They got CC Sabathia, they got Tanaka, they got a few guys there.
Michael Pineda, yeah, Ivan Nova,
and Kuroda.
They have the stacked outfield. The infield, so many question marks. Who's their third baseman? Is it Kelly Johnson, who's only played 15 games in his life at third? Do they move Brendan Ryan, the all-everything defensive shortstop who can't hit for anything?
Can't hit for crap. I mean,
that's why it's going to be close between these two, but I think I have to go with the Red Sox this year. Defending World Series champions, they have Lester, Buchholz, Lackey, Peavy. They have Dempster and DeBrot as their rotation. They have the closer who had the best postseason last year in Koji Uehara, who had a ridiculous streak of scoreless innings, finally go down. They got Grady Sizemore to come off the bench if he's ever healthy.
Who's the closer?
David Robertson. He was a very good middle reliever. The Red Sox.
We'll see if he has the same impact as if he can transfer over from being a reliever to being a closer, just like J.C. Field.
Yeah. But they have Victor Reno and they have Nava, who's a solid player. They have Jackie Bradley Jr. They made the opening roster last year and they expect big things out of him. AJ Przinsky at the catcher. They have Big Papi. You can't say not postseason hero for forever. Dustin Pedroia, former MVP.
They have great hairs. I think Boston can win this division, but I think the Yankees are going to be a team to sneak up because it's Derek Jeter's last year, and the Yankees could give him the gift of winning the World Series in his last year.
Okay, but I'd give him the gift. That'd be a good storyline. I don't know if they can do that. You can't just say because this guy is retiring, they're going to win the division and win the World Series. Not just because of that.
Well, they got great start. They got some good starting pitching, but they need to figure out offense. And if we figure that out, we'll see. But I think I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see them have maybe a perfect ending to a great career.
That would be a perfect ending to a great career, but I didn't get a chance to talk about like Xander Bogaerts. They expect big things out of him at shortstop. If Will Middlebrooks, I think the Red Sox are just too loaded to go down to the Yankees this year. Saying all this, we'll bring in our experts over here. We have Steve in the Mariano Rivera shirt, obviously a big Yankees fan, and we have Zach, obviously in the Red Sox fan, and we'll see what we get with this argument here. Boys, what do you think?
Well, since you are the defending world champion, as much as I hate to say it, Zach, as much as I hate it, I'll let you start off on what you think the Red Sox is here.
Didn't think much question marks coming off probably one of the worst seasons in Red Sox history. A lot of young talent. The team came together, made runs when we needed to, got into the playoffs, and the rest was history. Like Justin mentioned, David Ortiz, probably the most clutch hitter in playoff history, doing his thing. We beat, arguably, I think, the two best teams in the league to win it all, the Tigers and the Cardinals. Both teams were loaded, but the Red Sox, with the emphasis on team throughout the season, came in, did the thing, and won. I really don't think the Yankees are going to do good. I know it's Jeter's last year, but what has he done in the past few years? He's been in and out with injuries. He might come back for a game and then leave for the rest of the season. And as far as the sending off with a championship thing, I think Mariano Rivera could be argued as one of the best Yankees of all time too, and I don't think they send him off with even a playoff appearance. So I'm just excited. The AL East altogether is, I think, should be a very competitive division. I do feel like the Red Sox will finish second. I feel like the Yankees will sneak up and take the first place spot. I do agree with Justin in that the Blue Jays will have a bounce back year, finish third, and then I'll go Orioles and Rays. But yeah, I'm excited. And what's cool is Jeter's last games are going to be in Fenway. That's really exciting. The way that we sent off Mariano was pretty cool. So I can't wait to see what we do for Jeter.
Okay. Well, I respect that. The Red Sox, they do have a very good team. You know, I'm not going to argue that. I'm a little, you know, I know they have a good rotation. I want to see if they can do it again. You know, I'm scared of that lineup they have right there. And guys I'm really scared of are Xander and Bradley. I think they have great futures. I want to see how they do with the whole season rather than just, you know, 2 months here and there. They have, especially Bradley has a huge shoes to fill. You know, with one of my favorite signings the Yankees made this year, and Jacoby Ellsbury. Definitely makes that outfield a lot better. You know, now that outfield's got likes of you got him, you got who's the other big signing they got Beltran, they got Soriano to DH, who's a good power hitter, and especially that hitter-friendly Yankee park. In addition, they also have Brett Gardner, who's pretty quick, good outfielder. You know,
And Ichiro, pretty well Ichiro.
Yeah.
he's a bench player, which is kind of scary.
Would you play Ichiro at the DH and maybe just to solve Justin's problem here? Would you move Alfonso Soriano to an infield spot
No.
where he used to play?
No.
I feel like I would
Soriano.
I like that. I think I would put as a third base. I think Soriano could play third base.
Yeah.
I think if they worked him over the offseason, he could play third base. And I like Ichiro not coming off the bench. I would rather put him in the outfield with his defensive capability and his hitting, so he can still cover ground.
And
like
I put
that.
Beltran DH.
Yeah.
The only thing I do like that, if injuries, I think they should work on that. I don't know if you would change him at his age to an infield position where it is more athletic. I do like Roberts at second, personally. He's great WAR, very good defensive player. You don't expect him to hit much, he's going to be at 9. You'll be able to get something at the Yankee Stadium. Anyone could pretty much hit a home run that thing with that jet stream. I do like Johnson there at third. I feel like he may not be the offensive player he's used to with the Bombers. They have plenty of other big bats with Teixeira will come back healthy. Hopefully he can hit. You got Beltran, you got McCann, who big offseason, who can hit some home runs. You have Soriano who can hit. Ellsbury's a decent hitter. I think you can make up enough runs and have defensive capabilities. When the Yankees went on that huge run of a three-peat of all those World Series, they had a bunch of guys. They were able to go out and play defense and they didn't manufacture runs. Jeter, I'm scared, honestly. I love him. He hasn't been healthy lately. I'm a little worried. I personally think the Red Sox will win the division. The Yankees will come in second. However, I think both make the playoffs and both win the ALCS. And
That'd be epic. Epic in bold statement.
the big thing there is I think the Yankees rotation is going to come up big. CC, he's slimmed down, he's pitching better. Tanaka, who knows what's going on with Tanaka. You know, he could have a great year, he could have a bad year. You got Corona, you got Ivan Nova, who started off amazing last year, cooled off. And then at the 5, it's a battle between Phelps and Pineda. Pineda hasn't proven much. Phelps has been really good, I think. You'll end up putting Pineda there at the 5 and then move Phelps to the bullpen where he used to be. And I'm not scared of Robinson at closer because he's been greatest setup the past couple of years to Mariano. And is he going to be Mariano? No. No one's going to be Mariano.
It's just like the argument you say about when Aaron Rodgers is stepping in for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be Brett Favre.
I don't think you can really compare football and baseball, though, because baseball you can
Okay,
bring in a lot of
Masahiro Tanaka, I'm not one of the guys who believe in all the hype. Yeah, he had an amazing season or career or whatever in Japan. But he reminds me of another Red Sox not too long ago, Daisuke Matsuzaka, who was also a prime-time Japanese pitcher coming into the league, had about 2 bright moments and dropped off. I don't know where he is now. I think he might be in the Red Sox.
The only thing with
That's
Daisuke,
good. That's good.
Like,
argument.
I want to see, before we believe like in how amazing this dude is, I want to see if he can be consistent in the league. I don't want to give
which
him
is why
one
the GM
start
is not
and-
saying he's the ace. They're saying he's the third pitcher right now.
But do you see what the Yankees do? They go out on basically nothing and spend all this freaking money.
And why were the Red Sox trying to get him?
Well, hey. We didn't want to pay as much, though.
Basically, you're saying, is he going to be the Yu Darvish or is he going to be?
Yeah,
I think
that's-
he'll be somewhere between. Is he going to be as dominant as Yu Darvish? No, but they're not asking him to be. They're asking him to be a number 2 or number 3.
I hope he's not. Don't get me wrong. He might be amazing.
However, the reason I see the Red Sox coming out on top is they have a lot better depth. You know, if some of their guys go down, they have guys to fill in right in place, and then they got the young guys to come in. I think the Yankees will struggle a little bit with injuries, but still, I think they'll beat up Toronto. I think Toronto's at the bottom because you can always spend, as a Yankee fan, you can spend all the money, but if it don't click, it don't click, which has happened last year. And I don't think those players they signed are any good. Reyes was overrated as a Met. Let's be honest, he can't stay healthy.
He won a batting title.
Okay.
He steals like
barely
40
over
to
Braun.
50 bases a season.
He's a good player, but who else is around him? I don't see that.
That's why he got to do that. So he can get on bases.
I think Tampa,
That was the whole idea when
But-
he brought him in.
no one else can be able to hit him in.
Was it Batista? Everyone got a pronunciation?
What I find funny.
But, hey, can I finish my
No,
point?
you
Sir,
can't.
sir.
You can't. Excuse me.
Disrespectful.
Excuse
You
me.
are
Oh my god.
disrespectful.
He's trying to be Skip. He's trying to be Stephen A. Go. Continue.
Okay. Tampa
Anyway,
4.
so
This is why you guys don't got 27 rings. You only got like what, 7 or 8?
he's not bringing up the past one, guys.
How was that yours? How
Yankee
was that
fans always bringing up the past. Anyway,
Red Sox.
what I find funny is the Red Sox had no respect coming into last year. Nobody picked us to do anything. We have virtually the same lineup, if not a little bit worse lineup, with the loss of Ellsbury. And we had so much questions going into last year with, what is that? Napoli's hip injury. Can Ellsbury stay on the field? Victorino was falling off. Ortiz is getting a lot older. Our pitching was inconsistent. Different questions. And then yet we still won it. And I find it funny that now everybody's giving them so much respect. I feel like that's so, I don't know. It's funny to me.
Are the Yankees, were they not?
Because if you look at because if you look at the Red Sox lineup and the numbers, and then you look at the pitching staff and the numbers, you really can't say, just if you don't know anything about baseball, but you kind of know numbers. If you look at like what they did, you can't tell me that you would say that this team won the World Series last year. You can't.
Okay.
Nobody hit over 300.
Were the Red Sox, are the Yankees
Our
working on the
best
same
pitcher
thing?
was 12-9. Okay, 12-9.
Were the Yankees not in the same situation the Red Sox were in 2 years ago? Where everyone says, oh, they sucked last year. You heard Justin. He doesn't think they're very good. You don't think they're very good.
What, this year? Coming into this year?
Yeah.
I don't see
Well,
that.
that's
So they're going to finish
good,
first.
but I don't think they were going to be good enough.
Red Sox are picked to finish last. Yankees are picked to finish first. So much for no hype, right? You guys, the reason why the Yankees are always going to be considered one of the top teams is because they go out and they spend all the money.
Whoa,
I'm not gonna-
whoa. The Red Sox spend almost as much money as the Yankees, number one. And number two, I would much rather have a team spend the money, unlike the team down in Miami right now, which is holding in all their money. And what are they doing right now? Probably the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, but with your spending the money argument though, Dodgers trade.
Whoa.
Dodgers
Dodgers have
they
a higher
dumped
payroll than
off-
the Yankees.
They dumped Adrian
That was a
Gonzalez,
winner.
Carl
That was a
Crawford,
winner.
Josh
Nothing,
Beckett,
yeah. That was a
and
bad
I think
call.
Nick Punto. They got a bunch of young players and they lost about $200 million in contracts.
And then they
So
were
you
all
can't
getting
necessarily say the contract.
I just talk about overall like Yankee history. Like if you look at every offseason, who's the most active team and who brings in all
The
the
past 3
top
years, I've
players
not been the Yankees,
with
been
the
the
big
Dodgers.
money? Really?
the
Oh, well,
Dodgers
has been
lately.
the Dodgers, I guess. You're right. Whatever. I still hate the Yankees.
The Red Sox aren't even a real
It's a
team.
bias. Oh, we won the World Series. Not a real team, guys. Sorry, not a real team.
I do think the Red Sox are the better team on paper, especially with their depth. Hey, look at that team. That's a lot better than what they just thrown out there with their old age. I will give you that. But come playoff time, I don't see it.
You know what's gonna be funny too?
How many
We're
teams have
we're
we-
hyping up the Red
Red
Sox
Sox-
and Yankees. It's gonna be like the Rays and the Orioles on the top of this,
And we'll probably be 4-5.
and it's gonna be funny.
But you know what? The final 3 games of the season are going to be so much fun.
Well, yeah, because
Because
of
we'll be back in school, Jeter, you know.
You know how much fun it's going to be when both teams are going next to the division and
And then the
last 3 games of.
It'll be cool if it comes down to the last 3 games to who
I,
wins the division.
I think Baltimore might sneak in that hunt, though. You guys are all bashing them. I understand that. Hey,
You
hey,
need pitching to
hey,
you need
pitching
pitching
to
to win a
win.
listen
championship.
for a second. A couple of years ago, everyone was all, oh, Tampa's going to be awful. Tampa's going to be awful. They have no pitching. They have no this, none of that. And every year in the AL East, there's that surprise team. There is. And Baltimore, they have a bunch of young guys coming up from when they completely bombed for the past like 8 years. You know, do I expect them to be in the hunt with the big two, the Yankees and Boston? No. But I think they'll beat up Tampa because Tampa will end up having to ship Price, I feel like. Or is going to get nothing for him.
They'll get a first-round pick if they're losing every year.
Which is not,
It's nothing in baseball.
you know, so I feel like
But
Baltimore
it's
would be
still
in there.
plenty of players. to
Yankees,
sign.
Red Sox.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
So the Orioles are your surprise pick in the AL? Really?
they're not going to win the thing, no. But they'll be.
Who do you have for your surprise pick, Justin?
Mine was the Blue Jays. I think they're going to completely bounce back. They have good enough pitching 1 through 3. The back half not so great, but then their lineup, if they're healthy, that is a big if. I will admit that. There's a big if. If they're healthy, they have a really good lineup.
I know me and you agree on the Blue Jays.
No, I don't actually. I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Oh, you're talking.
I really.
Hey, Seattle's going to be good too. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
They're not nailed.
I was
They're not
talking
nailed,
earlier
yeah.
because I think that the Blue Jays are gonna have a bounce back year. Now I think the surprise team, the definition of surprise is nobody see it coming. Okay.
Okay,
Woo!
fair enough.
I think the Royals are gonna have a really surprising year this year.
That's not the AL East.
That's what they always.
No, but I'm just throwing it out there. American League. But AL East surprise, I don't really see a surprise because the division is just strong all around. Orioles
Fair
have the
enough.
bats, Rays have the pitching, and they have bats. Don't get me wrong. Blue Jays, well, they have an all-star team over there that just didn't
If
work
you
out
play.
last year. Red Sox, Yankees, I think the AL East will, if not be the best, one of the
Seattle's
top
gonna be
divisions.
good, too.
Seattle will be good.
My prediction. I don't know if it's necessarily hold, but I think that all 5 teams in the AL East will finish above 500.
I feel like one will be below 500 just because of the fact that something will happen and you're playing against all teams so much. But I think 4 will be above 500 like it usually is, and it'll be maybe like the old. I don't know if 2 will come out of the
There's
East.
going to be 3 teams out of the AL East in the playoffs.
I was thinking that. It's just like the NL
It could,
Central.
like to be honest, like who? Like I would think Tigers would be there.
Central, the Tigers Central.
Tigers Central.
Yeah.
Who will come out of?
The West, you have the Mariners, Rangers, Angels,
That's what I'm saying.
and
all two.
A's, who won the last 2
Okay, well
years.
maybe
You
not
also have
all
the
3.
Royals too. You're surprised.
Not all 3.
in the Central.
Yeah, that's true.
I only think 2 will,
I'm hoping 3. That would be really cool. That'll show who's the dominant division.
which the Yankees will end up going on and beating the Red Sox because the Red Sox.
I think we can all agree that I'm excited to see what Koji can do again, if he can be as dominant. Because it's really tough for, I mean,
Close
besides
consistent.
Mariano was rare with the way that he was consistent throughout his career as being such a shutdown guy. Some closers, they have great, amazing years. Like Papelbon, for instance, he had like 4 good years and then went to the Phillies, thought he was going to be good there. He got lit up like nobody else. So I'm excited to see what Koji can do.
We were talking about closers the last video. We had, besides Craig Kimbrell and Aroldis Chapman, and now since Mariano Rivera is retired, since Mariano Rivera was retired, 28 of the 30 teams have changed coaches in the last few years, which is a ridiculous number. Even the Red Sox did last year. Koji wasn't their first.
Andrew
closer.
Bailey was.
Yep.
Joel Hammerhand, too.
And before, Hammerhand. They both got in. Do we still have them on the team?
I believe he's a
Are they coming out?
he's a free agent.
What about Bailey? Is he? If Bailey,
I think he signed with somebody else.
Well, yeah, we Koji was after like nobody thought he was gonna come, and he came out of nowhere and did his thing. So
I like Koji. That might be the only Red Sox I say I like. But personally,
That's why I'm saying Francisco Rodriguez is first, not Jim Henderson.
Okay,
They
we're
have a
talking
bad-
about the AL
I
East.
know that, but I'm just saying.
I'm personally
Julio's got it.
excited to see how Tanaka adjusts. I know what he was bashing on him earlier. The thing with Daisuke is he was not able to grip a Major League Baseball because the sizes are different. They were talking about Koji.
He had like 1 or 2 good years. Though.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I
he
know.
said.
And Tanaka, he was actually like during his bullpen in Japan, he was gripping a Major League Baseball and throwing the bullpen, and scouts were saying it was just as good as a regular one. Do I think he will be as dominant as you? No, because you obviously probably one of the top pitchers in baseball right now. If he can be a solid number 2, I think the Yankees have a great rotation with CC, who's slimmed down. Maybe we can get a little of the old CC. Kind of hoping there, CC. Come on. Tanaka, Kuroda, he's a mixed bag. I don't know. Nova, once again, he had a good year. Good first half, cooled off. If he can continue some of the successes in number 4, he'll be a great 4 pitcher. And then the battle between Pineda and Phelps. I like the rotation there. I'll look at that. Teixeira coming off an injury.
They were saying good things about Pineda the other day. I saw like he was throwing the right normal miles per
Yeah,
hour.
Which
Pineda's a
is
good
great.
prospect
And then you
yesterday.
can have Phelps in the bullpen, which definitely helps both beef up our bullpen and can always use help there. Teixeira, I'm interested to see how come off the injury. Jeter obviously in his final year. Ellsbury, I think you know what you're going to get with him. I'm a little scared how long they gave him the contract, kind of like the thing with A-Rod.
He'll be fine. Ellsbury will have a good career.
I think I'm hoping so. McCann, I'm really excited about McCann. He's a big hitting
With that
catcher.
short
McCann is a
porch,
catcher
with,
that, yeah.
with that right field.
Red Sox are going really hard after him, and of course the Yankees got him. But
Hey,
McCann,
White
yeah,
Sox.
McCann is a very scary type of catcher.
And then I'm interested to see how those new infielders do. I like Johnson at third. I think he can be defensive, and Roberts is consistent. The interesting thing to look out for the Yankees is I know they don't have the farm system the Red Sox have, which is, I believe, the best farm system in baseball right now. They do have a couple of commodities in Gary Sanchez and Slade Heathcote. They are top 100 prospects and good hitters. And then Mason Williams, who was a center fielder that was regarded probably one of the top outfielders last year.
I'm talking about Yankees prospects.
Yankees prospects.
What? I got one to watch
Excuse me
out
for
for.
a minute.
Yeah, you talk.
Mason Williams, very, very fast center fielder. They're comparing him to Gardner in a lot of ways, and a little bit like Ellsbury. Only problem was he was a very good hitter, had a bad year last year. He was adjusting to Trenton, which is very cold, and got a DUI. I don't think any of them coming up this year, but if the Yankees have a hole he needs to fill, you know they're willing to trade and spend the money. So
I was going to say, is he going to play this year?
no, I don't think any of them playing, but you can see, as a lot of teams like to do, build their farm system, and
Do they have farm system gut the size of those couple guys? Though?
they have a couple other guys that are up near the Williams level, near the Williams level. Will they trade them? Who knows? There's always the teams that are looking for farms, and the Yankees generally do produce a lot of farm talent as much as they're known for spending money.
I was gonna say another prospect. Well, this is a hometown thing, but there's a guy from my hometown that got drafted by the Yankees. Out of Coach Bradford and getting calls. I'm interested in seeing how far is he gonna go in terms of
Isn't he like
minor
single
league.
A?
What?
Isn't he like in single A?
He's with
What round do you think?
third.
Oh, your third round?
Yeah,
Okay.
third round.
But yeah, like third round, like you don't expect him to see him this year.
Yeah, you
I want
won't.
to see what can come. But
UCL Yankees.
UCLA Yankees.
Oh, it's the Gulf Coast, yeah.
Gulf Coast.
That's way. I mean, you won't
Yeah,
see
I
him
know.
for a while.
I still would like to see him on the team. Yeah.
They have a lot of holes. They spend a lot of money. Unlike the Red Sox, don't have that many holes to fill. I do respect, as much as I hate them, I can't really talk bad about them in the World Series. Last year, I was bashing them every second. But I go Boston, Yankees, Baltimore, Tampa, and then last, and always the laughing stock.
I'll go Yankees. Well, no, I'll go Red Sox, Yankees, Tampa, Blue Jays, and Baltimore.
Wait, you said Red
Yankees
Sox.
are-
You told Yankees before.
Flipping.
You're flipping.
I guess I win in the debate. Is that what that means? No, I'm excited to see if Clayton Wells can stay healthy, if he can get back to
That's true.
his dominant form. Because if we can get him and Leicester going like how they were, Leicester finished the playoffs really strong. He dominated in his battles with Walker in the World Series. I'm excited to see if our pitching staff can come through. The top two will definitely be the load carriers. Felix DeBron, I don't know how I feel about him. He's a solid pitcher, not hottest. Jake Peavy, he was elite back in his day, back when the Padres, him and Ben Sheets from the Brewers, they were the top two pitchers in the National League at a time. So maybe he can get. Now he's never going to be that good again, but he maybe can get some of that form back. Ryan Dempster, I'm not sold on him yet. The bottom of the rotation are well-known names, but I'm not confident in them. The top two though, Buchholz and Lester.
What about
I feel
Lackey?
gonna. Is Lackey's?
Yeah, he's third.
Third.
Lackey's our third pitcher, guys. Come on. I don't know. Lackey is another one. I guess that's fine. That just shows how much like I feel about him. I don't really know if he's gonna be able to.
What do you think of Big
be
Poppy?
good.
I know you love
Poppy said he wants to play for 10 more years, man. As a Red Sox fan, sign him for 20. I don't care if he's like 70 years old, has his walking cane as a bat. He can play for the Red Sox. I'm excited. I don't know. I really don't feel like his numbers are gonna be hurting too much because with age, his numbers have been fine. They stayed steady.
He was supposed to fall off like 3 years
yeah,
ago.
and then he had
still
that
keeps
30
going.
home run season, and of course the questions came up with all the PEDs or drugs and stuff, but
A-Rod gave it to
he
him.
did not.
That's been
Yeah. 23 home runs, 85 RBIs.
That's best projections.
Projections for this year, but I see that's what I get for not studying up. But I feel like as a team we should be fine. I'm excited for AJ Krzyzewski too, veteran catcher. We didn't have
Traded his socks.
yeah. He traded from White Sox to Red Sox. Yeah. I'm excited to see what he can do. He was kind of a second thought because we were going so hard after McCann that once we couldn't get him, we lost Altamont, so we knew we had to fill that void and get somebody to go along with Ross. So Krzyzewski was the next best thing. We got him. We're excited to bring him
Think their
aboard.
beards are coming back?
Napoli still has his beard. He didn't cut it yet, and I think they are going to start growing it.
Well, I know Ellsbury won't have a beard.
Johnny Gomes got a tattoo of his
Johnny
beard
Gomes,
with a
yeah.
church trophy.
That is dedication.
I'm interested to see if they get the ALCS again. Because last time that happened, it was a great moment of mine. Aaron Boone hit a walk-off home run to left field. And
If you guys watch this video, just notice how he's bringing up everything.
that's like the second time I brought it up.
Him and his SpongeBob imagination.
Imagine.
Hey, we'll let the Yankees
I
beat you
don't.
on the field.
Okay, honestly, as a Red Sox fan, I don't like Roberto Brooks. I think he has great power, but that's really all he has to me.
Fair enough.
He's decent. He has a decent glove. His average is terrible. I think there was a stretch where he was like 1 for 30 in the middle of the season. I don't know if he's what the Red Sox need at third base. He might, hoping that he can stay solid throughout the year, but I'm not so sure about him. He might just be like that bottom of the road or bottom of the batting order power type of guy, maybe an 8, 7.
So, quick question for you. Do you think the Red Sox will miss Ellsbury more, or the Yankees will miss Cano more?
Which one will?
Which team will feel the loss the most? Like in terms of
Well,
their
Anderson,
rating?
it's hard.
Anderson's not a big of a
It's
loss
hard.
because
It's hard to
they have
answer that
something
because
else.
you gain different things with each player. With Cano, you get a solid bat, consistent defense. Ellsbury is amazing defense and amazing stealing base, decent bat.
Yeah.
Not sold on his bat, but he'll get on base. He'll steal. I don't know if
Who do you feel like?
I feel
which
like
team's replacement will do better?
based on the way the teams play, how the Red Sox won was based on small ball, get guys on base, move them over, get them in. I think that the Red Sox will definitely miss Ellsbury a lot more. I think the Yankees still have enough power on that team to make up for the numbers of Cano that they'll be missing with him. But I think that the overall stolen bases, getting on base, scoring runs, Ellsbury is definitely a huge blow.
Although I don't believe the
Red
Red Sox
Sox.
were not trying to go for him for that much money in that long time.
Especially with Jackie Bradley waiting in the rings.
Yeah, Jackie, when he got the start at the beginning of the season, those few games, I saw a lot of promise out of him, and then he kind of slowed down a little bit. But I'm excited to see what he can do now that he knows what the game is, or the major league is all about. maybe he can provide that stolen base, on base thing at the top of the lineup.
Plus, they have waiting in the wings, Grady Sizemore.
Yeah,
That's kind of what gets us
he might be able to play in left field, but he's
Yeah.
a backup.
Yeah, if
if
his knees let him, he was
I'm
once a
excited.
good player.
I mean, if he can return to his all-star ways, maybe not. Well, probably not.
He's like-
but if he can, that would be amazing.
We both teams have extremely deep outfields.
Red Sox go after all the old guys. You guys ever notice? We go after old people.
We just do. We're paying a lot of money.
I think the AL East is going to be a fun division to watch. So definitely going to have some exciting games. Going to have some walk-offs. Going to have some close, or going to have some shutouts with all the amazing pitchers there. Might see a few perfect games. Hopefully that'll be awesome.
For the Yankees.
A lot of grand slams. I think a lot of runs and a lot of good. It's going to be a great mix of both types of baseball in the AL East. I think it will be more very competitive.
I think that in the West will be good too. The whole AL, I see AL winning the World Series. Where we got
If
it.
the Red Sox don't win, I hope
The Yankees do.
somebody from the AL East wins.
Oh, thank you.
Not
So
gonna
the
say
Yankees.
you're not gonna say that team, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't root for the Red Sox in the World Series. Sorry, buddy.
Thanks, Justin and D-Shot for having us on. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for letting me talk about how much the Yankees they are this year and how bad they're so far. Take care, guys.
All right.
Aloha!
Next week,
I'm from
NL West.
Hawaii.
NL West next week.
I'm from